How you doing, family? We're going to start this video off with, in the usual way that we do, with the mantra and the sea thought. Sea thought is the usual. To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. What I want to talk with you today about is some more practical, and I want to continue on the theme of moving this lecture series into more of a workshop on explaining to younger folks who are not familiar with the terminology and with the utility of meditation and the whole concept of metaphysics. Okay? Metaphysics all by itself is a topic which explains everything that is non-physical. That is thoughts, the mind space, visualizations, anything that is in the first realm, what we call the first, I call it the first dimension. Some people call it the fourth dimension. And I cannot call it the fourth dimension because that's what we are in our essence. So I have to say what we are in our essence is first. Okay, everything from the metaphysical, which is the non-physical realm, to the physical realm, which is the flesh vehicle. And in Professor Kaba's book, he calls it from the skin out is the physical realm. Or what Eckhart Tolle calls it is form, the physical form. Okay, that's the realm of form. But Professor Kaba puts it much more practical and much more down to earth, and he uses the terminology of from the skin out. Okay, and that's a little, it's accurate in the sense of the way we think as human, as human forms, or the spirit coming through the human form. We know our skin, but we know, of course, below the skin there are organs. So these are a part of the body, and they are physical things. Okay, but we don't get hung up on terminology. You know what we mean, and we all are talking about the same thing. It's just about levels and a matter of detail. Now, something about myself you need to understand too, and I realized it this morning, is that the way I am, the way my physical vehicle that I was born into, you have to understand, when you're born into a vehicle, that vehicle has characteristics and a personality, as we call it. And when we were in spiritual culture, we didn't identify, and that's another topic before I get into that. Eckhart Tolle talks about identifying. When you identify with something, that's almost like saying you are that thing. And this is why Eckhart Tolle specifically gives you the language and the vocabulary. You don't want to identify with this flesh vehicle because it is not you. And it's beautiful that he has established this this structure so that it will give you the clarity that you need to understand. When you identify with something, you're basically saying that is me. And this is where the human flesh vehicle and the spirit that is riding in this flesh vehicle, this interface and that interplay, okay, is an evolutionary process. Okay, in other words, we have evolved to this point, this level, in our evolutionary process, every lifetime that you're reborn into another vehicle, excuse me, um, you're getting a chance to be better. And that's what the I am, or that you are. When you say I am, that I, that's the essential spirit, the micro being that you are, that is directly connected to God. Okay? But as a micro being, you are aware. You are conscious that you are a micro being. Just like all the other animals are conscious, but they're not aware that they're conscious. See, this is what, as far as we know. See, we're humans, we're beings in a human form, so we call ourselves human beings. Okay? Gotta understand what you were born into. If you 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you watching this video, I'm granular. I'm getting down to the granular, basic, raw level. I want you to understand from what you are out into this physical world, exactly what you were born into. See, and what features and skills and powers and authorities that come with this structure. Structure. Okay, structure. Your mind is a structure. Your thoughts are a structure, but they are metaphysical. They are not on a physical plane. This physical being is a structure. It is a form. It is physical. Okay, everything that is a thought or feeling or emotions are metaphysical. Okay, because you can't touch them. So they're beyond physical. You know, for the sake of this workshop and the language that we're going to be using, when I use the term metaphysical, I'm talking about something that is not physical. Let's just be very clear about that. Okay? All right, so going back to the form. Every one of us is born into a different form. So what works for one form or human form may not work for your human form exactly the same. See, there is no absolutes when it comes to what works for you and what works for me. Okay, let's be very clear about that. And this is why I want to get you away from religions, because religions are dogma, and it's really kind of a troglodytic. It means it's antiquated, and it's from back when the human being combination was dumb, very brutal and dumb and unsophisticated and raw and just dumb, brutal, troglodyte, over there with the dinosaurs and crawling on all fours and not even able to stand up. So you still can have a mentality that's like that. And we call it a brute. So as a part of your evolutionary process, you have to be better. So you got to stop. We want to move away from being dumb brutes, and we want to move into being more higher levels of intelligence. So because as you think, that's what you become. So you must demonstrate that your thinking is on a higher level, so others will realize what is possible. And for you to get that across to other people, you have to live that. You have to be it. You have to demonstrate it in your behavior and in your actions. And you can't do that unless you know what's going on. So you got to have knowledge. And the first knowledge you got to have is the knowledge of self. You got to understand self. And why? Because that self is your most powerful tool. That is what manipulates and creates and makes manifest fortune, luck, circumstances. See, when you have your mind together and your visualization tool, then therefore you can manipulate circumstances and fortune to come your way. Most people call it luck. Okay? It's a metaphysical thing, but it's driven by you using the powers and the authority that you were born with. And some people call them skills. I call it authority, because authority means power. It's a word that gives the connotation of power. Okay? And you are a powerful being trying to express itself through a imperfect, powerless form. You bring power to a powerless thing. But what you get back in return is you get finite for an infinite being. You're an infinite being. But infinite is not good on the physical plane. This is a finite plane. So infinite wants to come to a finite plane. You got to understand the dynamics of that. See, that's a dynamic that dynamic means it's a moving, growing thing. Relationship. That's the thing I'm talking about, the relationship of this physical form to the infinite spiritual form. Okay? This workshop, we gonna be granular. We going down back to the basics. Okay, this is the first of the workshops, and we gonna get this spiritual thing cleared up. That's what this is about. We're gonna get this spiritual thing together. I want you to know the difference. I don't want you to hope. I don't want you to think. I want you to know the difference between metaphysical and physical and how it works. That's what I'm going to talk about in this book right here. My book on the bottom. These other books on the top. These are the books that help me get this book here together for you, which is my young folks. That's what, if you older folks are watching this, don't take it personal, because it's not about you. It's about these young folks and making sure they get started right so they can move this thing to the next level. It's not personal. Don't ever take any of this personal. White folks, if you happen to be a demelanated black person and you call yourself white, you can watch this and you can get what I got here is just for you too. But if you think I'm going to sit here and suck up to you and cut off my young people, you in trouble. This is not going to be for you. Or at least you better check your ego at the door. This ain't for you. This is for young black folks who've been told for the last 6, 7, 800 years that you're better than them. And we're going to put that to bed here. This is not for you. This is for them. And maybe in another lifetime, I'll come back and I'll do something that will kind of get you together. But you got everything working for you. Young black folks, we ain't got nothing working for us. See? And until that changes, sorry, this ain't for you. And it's not personal. I don't have no dislike against you. It's just what's been going on. We ain't got time for that. So go get yourself another video, or you can stay here, but you got to stay here, sit down and shut up, and don't start getting in the comment section and complaining and whining about things that haven't been, and you insulted. We don't care about you. This ain't about you. Sorry. Okay? And I want that to be very clear. I'm not doing these YouTube videos to get monetized. Don't care. It's not for you. It's for my people, my young people. I want that to be very clear. Okay? And it's not personal. I have no hatred against you or anything like that. I just don't care. This is for us. Okay? So now, and what I want to say to support that concept and explain another aspect about myself, and I'm going to go back into the lesson plan here that this workshop is based on, but I want to be very clear in the beginning. I am a utilitarian person. That means I always want to know how things work. And that's why I honestly believe in my essence, what I was brought here to do is to teach and explain to young folks exactly what we've been born into. See, I ain't had nobody doing this for me. And that I knew something was wrong. And I know I should have had somebody doing this for me. And Professor Kaba, which his book is always going to be up top here, he has done that. He has done what I wanted to do, but he's done it better than I did. But I did my own version here. My version is a street version. This is for the ghetto folks and for the folks who just, they got to get you. I'm gonna get you ready to go do Kaba, but I'm gonna talk to you from Kaba's teachings, okay? But I want to explain to you young folks, black folks, another key thing here. You got to know the difference between African and black liberation. See, I don't have to tell you I'm African, right? I don't have to tell you that. You know why? Because you can look at my skin and see I'm African. See, so I don't have to tell you I'm an African American. You just look at me. Now, they tried to call it black. They just want to say, oh, you're black. Here's another thing. You have to define your world and your vocabulary and your reality for you. Nobody else gets the Bible, Jesus. No, nobody gets to define your reality for you but you. And I have decided, okay, I know I'm African because, first of all, I know my history. I know the history of the human race. And I know it started in Africa. So in essence, all of us are Africans. But we have migrated to different places. And family lineages have moved to Jamaica, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Brazil, South America, Mexico, Alaska, China. Some of us were born there now. But when the human race started, we had to migrate from somewhere. And the only place that existed where there was human beings was in Africa. And I'm talking about when there were about maybe 700-800 people on the whole entire planet. They may not necessarily been walking straight up. Professor Carver is going to talk about that. We're going to get into that, believe me. But what I wanted to explain to you, understand what you're looking at. You see red, black, and green. You see red, black, and green over here. I gotta look at the camera, make sure you're seeing what I'm pointing to. Okay, you see red, you see black, and you see green. Now, what does that mean? I have decided that I am functioning from a black liberation perspective. At the time when these colors were established, that's what we were. Why were we calling ourselves black liberationists? Because at the time, as now, as it is right now, black folks are under siege. We are, the media and every aspect of life in America and throughout the whole world is designed to trivialize our value as human beings, to try to get the other rest of the folks in the world who are not as dark-skinned as us, who do not identify with their Africanness and their blackness as African. The whole world is subtly, nicely, gently trying to, it's not that important. Not to them. But I decide what is important. This is what I want you to start doing. I want you to have an insult level. And your insult level only comes into play when things don't go the way you want them to go. I want you to get comfortable with you having an identity and a value within the world. Because you are just as much a God, if not more than the others, because you're in the original form. So it's not better than. I said this in my other video. It's about better at. Are you better at understanding what and who you are? That's what this video is all about. I'm going to make sure you absolutely going to be better at knowing exactly what the hell is going on around here. That's what this is all about. So when you see red, black, and green, you looking at Black liberation movement that was started here in America, which is a mission. It's a part of a legacy that I inherited when I moved to Harlem in 1962, after being born in 1956. Okay, that's how it all started. Okay, I was introduced to the Black liberation movement with the Black Panthers. You know, you see the word black all over the place, and see, most people see it as racial. It ain't racial, because Professor Carver, he tells you, before there was anything else, and now that everything else exists, all of it exists on top of and out of blackness. You think I'm lying? Look up in outer space. Get a telescope, the most powerful one you can get. I don't care which one you look at. Every bit of light and everything you see is surrounded by what? Black. It's not racial. It's science. It's just so coincidental. Before there was light, all there was black. Why am I saying this to you, young folks, black folks? Because we got to change the paradigm. You look at that TV, they tell you everything good is white. As soon as something bad happens, it's black. Black Plague, Black Friday, blackout. Until it comes to money. And when your money is right and you don't have no debt, every night, see, and what you're gonna hear is the truth. See, because in their essence, what they know is when everything is right, it's black. Because when your money is right and when you have no more debt and there's no more red, what do they say? Oh, what are you? You are in the black. When they want to dress up and be royal and show wealth and value, what do they put on? A black tuxedo. See? See? So I want to clear all of that up. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want you to understand. You got to define you for you. But in order for you to define you, you got to understand and know something. You got to have a base of knowledge. Okay, and that's what we're doing. I'm going to help you build a foundation of knowledge based on truth, not theory, not hope. And there's nothing wrong with hoping, but I mean, not when it comes to you understanding and building your foundation. You can't have a foundation built on hope. You got to have a foundation built on knowledge and truth. That's wisdom. That's what you call wisdom. Truth and knowledge, facts, science, not guessing, not hoping, not turning it over to anybody else. And that's another thing. Nobody else. You're responsible. We're going to put this to an end. We almost stop. You're going to change that paradigm. No more turning nothing over to God. No more turning anything over to Jesus or the Bible. None of that. You're responsible. And you know why? Because when anything go wrong, you're going to pay. And I mean, there is no law, no nothing. Nobody can change that. Those are facts. That's science. And that's something I don't have to repeat because it's already happened. If you're breathing, you already know this. No matter what color you are, you know that. Anything go wrong, who pay? If something get broken on your body, who feels? Stand out in the sun too long, you get burned, who feels it? So okay, point. I think point well made here. Another thing, what I want you to see is all around me, everything I do is done because of a method. I'm doing it on purpose. For the most part, not every single thing that's back here, but for the most part, the color, the structure, the cleanness of it is on purpose. Because I want you to understand, you got to be organized. And this is not just because you're in a hostile environment, black folks, Africans, okay? You are in a hostile environment. And don't ever be fooled. Don't ever be fooled. It never ends. And when you get done with leveling the playing field on a racial level, because they created race, so listen, this is the game we're in, we're going to play to win. Whenever we get that over with, you got a whole nother level you got to deal with. And that'll always exist. And that'll be this flesh vehicle here. It's giving you the structure. It's not a bad thing. But the viruses and things that come around, they're going to always come around. Because the way God set this whole thing up, the way we set this up, we want to not know stuff. And so there will always be situations that's going to come back that you're not going to see coming. Those are called challenges. And that's what makes life fun. You might find it very hard to believe, but believe it or not, that is exactly what it is designed to do. Is to make sure you never know everything. When you think you got it going on, something else is going to come. Because that's the law of attraction. Together, organized attracts disorganization. It attracts it. I don't understand why, but I'm telling you, that's the way it is. A lot of this, what I'm telling you, is not about why. It's about just the way it is. And you need to understand that, put it in your toolbox, and get to work developing tools and tactics and strategies to survive and thrive and have fun, even in spite of that. Just that, like black folks, we get ahead in spite of white supremacy. And you better believe this thing been going on for about close to 1,000, maybe more years. When it first started, it was subtly, so you can't really say it was an organized supremacy scheme. But now it's full blown. You were born into the full blown, refined, scientific, engineered white supremacy. You have no idea. This entire media system was created based on that. Relative to black folks. White folks, the entire media was designed to jack you up too and boggle your mind with terror of a hell somewhere and a heaven somewhere that if you don't behave, terror, you won't get to go. Kabuki doll inside of a whole nother kabuki doll. So black folks, we got two kabuki dolls. You got to get over the terror of if you don't do right, you go into hell. And Jesus is doing it for you. Not you doing it, not you, your mind controlling everything, which is no matter what you say, that's exactly what's happening. Because that's the way God set all of this up. That's how this works. So if you believe that if you don't do right, you're going to go to hell. And if you feed the homeless and and feed your family and go and do right all the time, you're going to go to heaven because you believe. Now, the lesson in that is belief is very powerful and very real. But what you believe has got to be based on science, facts, and history. Based on science and fact and how all of this works. That's what you got to believe in. But whatever you believe in, you're going to attract it into your world. So you better be very careful about what you believe in. And what I'm teaching here is that you the only one that controls, and be honest with you, you are the only one that ever could control your beliefs. See, you have to accept beliefs. Because if you say, I don't believe that. Now, if you say it on the surface, you got to understand there's two levels of belief. There's belief that you can control, and then there's belief you can't control. It's called repetition, images. I can put images into your eyes and things that you can see repeated over and over and over again. And even if you physically, consciously don't want to believe it, that's not how it works. If I splash some pictures up on the screen and peel your eyeballs and tape them open and make you watch hundreds of times, it goes past your conscious ability to control. And I don't care what you say. The way the subconscious machine works is on repetition, repeat. And if I tape your eyeballs open and flash things in your eyeballs and goes into your physical eyeballs, they're going in. That's going in. Whether you want it to or not, as long as them eyeballs are open and pictures are flashing, subconscious machine is just recording. It don't care how you feel after a while, because your feelings can be subverted by repeated images. That's why I tell you cut that TV off. Because once you cut that TV off, now the only repeated images of those things that you're going to see reflected. But you can control that, because you can decide to turn away and not look. You can take that thing and throw it out, shred it up, tear it up, throw it in the garbage. And now you can control every image that's in your room that you're sitting in. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to get in the habit of that. And I want you to extend this room out into your car, into your living room, your kitchen, your dining room, everywhere in your home. Because the only the 3 places you can control is your subconscious mind, your metaphysical realm, your home, and your car. If you're on public transportation, you're in trouble, because you can't control none of that. So I want you to understand you have to control imagery, pictures, everything. Will you be able to control absolutely everything? That's another rule. Nothing is absolute. But you want to control the majority of things. Remember, moderation in all things. So everything I'm telling you, you can only do to a certain extent, because that's the way it's all set up. Sorry. You want to control everything, but then you become obsessive compulsive. And I don't want you to go, because then that'll put you like this. I want you to stay here. I want you to stay level. I want you to stay reasonable. I want you to do everything within reason. So when you hear me use the term, I want you to control everything, I want you to understand that I want you to control everything in your environment within reason. Who sets the standard for reason? You do. Who sets the standard for good and bad? You do. Who controls everything that manifested in your environment? You do. In order for these the media and all these folks to control your emotions and what trigger, what thoughts are going to come into your mind, you have to let them do it. You have to allow it. Again, it's you. That's why I want you to get in the habit. You got to understand this dynamic. Now, this is a fundamental dynamic of your very existence. In order for anybody to get to you, you have to allow it. Now, they can force you. If they take tape and tape your eyeballs open and put things on your ear, now they're forcing you. But you see, you can still develop a mental state that will say, I hear these sounds and I see these images, but I'm not these images and I am not these sounds. I am God, having a human experience. And no matter how much these sounds come in, I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to identify with these sounds and say that those sounds are getting to me. I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am not thoughts. I am the watcher. And I see this and I recognize consciously that these things are not mine, they're not me, and I will not allow. That's where I want you to get. That's how powerful I want you to ultimately be. And that's how powerful you will ultimately become. It's automatic. It's already written into the... Look at the evolutionary trajectory. That's why after a while, nothing works. That's why after a while, all viruses no longer infect the human flesh. Because you develop an immunity. You're designed that way. God, perfection, is trying to get you an imperfect, finite being. So this being is always going to get better. It's just the organic evolutionary process. So at a certain level, it's no need to get too upset about what's going on here, because all of this is temporary. It comes and it goes. But the watcher is always watching. That's why I want you to get your God sense. The watcher, which is what you are, will always be watching. And there's nothing that exists that can stop that. So, chest out, shoulders back, head up, proud, strong, empowered by knowledge, not hope. Knowledge is what you know. And as I always, my normal disclaimer, prove me wrong. Because I know what I'm talking about. And I defy anybody. Prove me wrong. Okay? Now, I think I covered pretty much everything, but I want to make sure. Okay. We talked, I browsed and I glanced over spirituality. I want to clear this one. It's very important, because I can't tell you to throw the Bible out and get into spirituality and you don't really understand what spirituality is. Spirituality is the conscious awareness that you are an infinite being, and all of the meditation and exercise and functioning that you do out of this knowledge and awareness is all spirituality. Spirituality involves balance, the whole concept of balance, the whole concept of the difference between the flesh vehicle and the metaphysical realm. That spirituality is the understanding and the science of that knowledge, and the practice and the living out of that knowledge and through that knowledge. That's spirituality. Spirituality does not tolerate fear. You cannot be a spiritual person rooted and anchored in spirituality and have fear, because spirituality is God, is the understanding of your God self. And since you cannot die and you are forever, the two things don't go together. You can't be an infinite being that cannot die, cannot have fear. It's not possible. It's just not possible. And that's something you just have to come to understand. And this is what I want you to, you'll eventually get this. But I want you to understand that this is the pursuit, this is the path of righteousness that you are on. It is the constant validation that you are God having a human experience. And you can never die. That's spirituality. That's power. That you were blessed with the authority and given the tools of imagination, thought, and belief and feelings to manipulate matter on a physical plane. The understanding of that is spirituality. The practice of that is spirituality. To include diet and the way you eat is because of your understanding about spirituality. The science is the understanding of spirituality and how spirit can manipulate matter. That's spirituality. It's the science of how spirit moves and manipulates electromagnetic forces and matter. That's spirituality. And that's the difference between religion and spirituality. See, religion is a concept, it's an idea, it's a fairy tale, it's a hodgepodge of manipulation of the science of spirituality into a lie. It takes a kernel, a nanite of the truth of spirituality and builds an elephant-sized lie, hodgepodge of terror and fairy tales and lies and everything, and you know it's a lie because you're scared. If you're scared and terrified, that right there, you know it's not spiritual. But I just told you, you can't be afraid of anything when you can't die and you always exist. Now, you can spend the rest of your life learning how to believe that. But to me, it's not even a close choice. I'm not talking about practical fear that comes with not putting your hand in a flame of fire because you know fire will burn your vehicle. Not you. You will burn the hand that you're using. There's a difference in the way you think about that. If you think about it from a spiritual perspective, you don't think you are the hand. This hand that you're using will get burnt. So you have a organic flesh vehicle fight or flight reaction and sensation that will come and tell you, hey, don't do that. Ouch, pain. But that's still not you. That's why you can see these monks, they'll set themselves on fire and they'll burn and not even scream. You can go watch the YouTube movies and watch. They just sit there and they just burn because they have totally not identified with the flesh vehicle. They know what and who they are. But that's where they were able to get in the evolutionary process. Okay? That's just to show you, or really they're showing themselves by burning a vehicle. So they're showing the universal spirit, which is you. See? Just in case y'all forgetting what we are. Look here. I'll be back. I ain't even gonna bother to scream. I'm not gonna allow this vehicle to scream. Just gonna sit here and burn this vehicle. Burn this vehicle. Spirit draws back. Another baby. Before that body hits the ground, baby. Somewhere else, don't matter. There's only one God, one spirit, manifesting as Russell this time, as Joshua this time, as Isaiah, as Kea, as Kelly, my mother, this time. That's how this works. Now, you don't have to believe me. Do your homework. Get to reading. Get to studying. Do what you got to do. But even in that filthy Bible, they haven't been able to hide that. That's how they hook you in. They got to tell you that. And you believe that. Black folks, you enslaved and they gave you that book. You believe that. Well, then you deserve everything you get. But I'm not here to deal with folks who are still buying the con job. I'm here to save the young folks. I want them to grab a rung of real power that's going to have them getting what they want in this life for themselves. Wow, 45 minutes. Okay, well, that's the nature of this. Okay, okay. So I studied, I explained to you about the study and the understanding of spirituality and awareness. Okay, the science of spirituality and awareness, which is what I just explained to you. We'll go over it again because it's complicated, it's deep. But I want to cover this other area here of identity, identifying with things. Now, spirituality, I just explained that's all metaphysical. That's the whole understanding of the spiritual unlimited being coming through a finite form. And the fact that you understand that and do everything out of that understanding makes you means that you are functioning as a spiritual being. So you are a spiritual person. You are practicing spirituality. Okay? But now, let's deal with this metaphysical form, metaphysical realm, and the physical realm. As Professor Kaba says, from the skin out. I want to read this to you, what he talks about, because I want to get this going. There's the first of our workshops. Okay, this is what Professor Kaba says. Science deals with matter, finity, and light. Spirituality expresses space, infinity, and darkness. While they are not the same, they are like the head and tail of a coin. Okay, that's what Professor Kaba says. Okay, and this is where we're going to basically be coming out. Everything we do, this workshop is coming out of this. And I'm going to cite Jeremiah Camara, The New Doubting Thomas. These are going to be the two books we're going to be functioning out of, I would say, for the next 2 years. That's how we're going to roll on this. This is going to be an ongoing workshop. And we got so much to cover. 2 years might just begin to, I might get through maybe a quarter of this in 2 years. These videos only going to be an hour. Try to keep it down an hour because it gets to be hard to focus. I know a lot of you can't focus that long. Okay, so Professor Carver, I'm going to read a little bit more. He's going to talk about from the skin in and the skin out. The skin out to him is science. Okay, that's what he refers to. The skin in is spiritual. That's metaphysical. I call it metaphysical. He says spiritual. Tomato, tomato. Same thing. Okay? I want to talk to you about the skin out as it relates to the spirit that is within. When the spirit that is within controls everything. You were born into an environment where you are told, trained, and brainwashed into believing that you are this flesh vehicle. And I call it the perfect lie. And Professor Carver calls it I get that terminology, the perfect lie. I get that from Professor Carver. And it could not be better said than that. And also Jeremiah Kamara, he says it too. The perfect lie. And that's that Bible. And that's why I tell you, throw that thing out and get into these two brothers right here so you can get a handle on what you are. And Eckhart Tolle, I love this guy because once you cut off that filthy Bible and these brothers point you to the real deal, Eckhart Tolle is going to teach you how to strip all the fear and the terror out of the belief in a lie. And then the reason why I'm getting you and getting these together for you, because I want you to get to this. And it ain't gonna be no this before that. All of this is gonna jump off at the same time. Because every day I want you to do this. That feeling is the secret. Because this is law of attraction. This book here, Dianetics, this one right here, that's to help clean up the stuff from the lies and the trauma and the brother down here, Curry, Tommy Curry, Dianetics and Tommy Curry, and there's another sister right here, this sister here, Joy McGroy from the last video. They're all trauma experts. Dianetics is the cleaner way to trauma. The Tommy Curry and the sister Joy DeGray, they're going to explain to you about the trauma. But see, I don't want you to get bogged down in the trauma because I want you to focus on this. The reason I'm talking to you about metaphysics and the physical realm and understanding the dynamics and the vocabulary and the components of all of these different realms and all of this metaphysical and all of this quantum physics, which is on a physical level, is so I can get you to this. Law of attraction. Everything I'm doing is to get you to law of attraction. Because law of attraction is going to be getting stuff done. I want you to start learning about online investing, how to find stocks and to invest in and companies to invest in so you can build your economic base. The reason I want you to explain to you all this brainwashing and all this crap and throw that Bible out because you're wasting time on nonsense that ain't gonna get you nothing. See, but law of attraction is gonna get you everything you want. Dianetics is gonna get you the freedom of your mind and your subconscious being that these folks are explaining to you how it all works. And Brother Curry and Sister DeGraff, They're explaining to you the trauma. But I don't want you to fixate on that, because I want you to get to this. I want you to get cleaned up with this dynamics. Get that crap out. Get all them subconscious reactions cleaned up so you can get your stuff going. Have a better life, a life free of terror from that damn Bible. Empowered with knowledge, power, black power is what it's all about. Back to where you always were. Better now, smarter, more informed, empowered by knowledge. No fear, because you can never die. See what I'm talking about, young folks? This is what you were meant to be. This is what you are here to do, and to pass it on. Cut that TV off. If you want to beautify yourself and put the lashes on, put the makeup on, you brothers want to cut your hair and do the waves and wear your stuff and wear your jewelry, ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't care if you want to wear your pants below your butt and show your beauty and how beautiful your body is. I don't care about none of that. That don't matter. What matters is that you understand what and who you are. Don't get bogged down into fashion. Do it because you want to do it, but do it from knowing what you really are. And if you still want to do it, that's your business. Don't care. I'm too busy focusing on what matters. Do you have your skills together and you can put a vision in your mind and repeat it enough times and believe in it so that it manifests in this world? That's all that matters. I don't give a damn about telling you how to wear your pants and stuff like that. If you want to do, you don't have no shame and you want to do it, so what? Don't care. Now, I care about you being disrespectful to the elders and the babies. Well, I care about that. See, that's my moral principles. And you have to develop that. You know, why would you want to expose parts of yourself to people that are not worthy? You know, you save all that for the people that are worthy, and you want to share that with people. Young folks that do that, that's part of their development. They haven't really understand the value of worthiness. They don't understand. They don't know. Nobody's taught them. You can't blame young people for not knowing. If they don't know, that's your fault, adults. You seniors, you grown men, folks, and you don't go out there beating them and slapping them on the head and doing all that kind of stuff. You don't have a right to do that, especially if they're 20, 21. Too late. You should have did that. Their father and their parents and their mother and all of them should have did all of that. But you ain't going to teach them by slapping them in the head. You're going to teach them by explaining to them the dignity of worthiness. Teach them the truth. The truth will give them empower their minds with knowledge. And then they will look at themselves and see for themselves that it's not right. You don't expose yourself in a tactical war footing environment. You don't do it. See, but you got to explain that to them. You don't have to beat them up. All you're going to do is trigger a reaction and they're going to do it even more. But the problem is you're not going to educate them. You're not going to empower them with knowledge. So, black folks, you're still coming out of enslavement and segregation. You got to understand where you are. And you've been educated by your enemy. And that's what you got to stop doing. Take the math, take the science, take the history and their history and throw it in the garbage. That Bible, throw it in the garbage. Get your own history, the history of the human race. That Bible is a fairy tale, is a mythological story that they want you to believe, largely from a group of people who were being hated and traumatized and chased out of everywhere they went. And so they wrote that Bible. Read Jeremiah Kamara. He explained it to you. Everything was done for a reason. And you got to understand what the motivations are for these people. Motivation is the same as reason why people do things. Okay? Okay? So that's what I wanted to cover here. Define everything for yourself. Don't beat up on our young folks who wearing their pants below their butt. Nobody cares. They're beautiful anyway, so what the hell? See, when you love yourself and you love your people, you don't see nothing about them as ugly. You may be embarrassed. Okay, we'll go over it, brother. Hey, listen. But if he grown, I advise you don't do that. Do a YouTube movie like I'm doing. Explain why they shouldn't do it. And allow them the dignity of understanding why they shouldn't do it. And see, if you get more done with sugar than you do with vinegar. Violence, anger, and shame. That's one of our biggest problems, black folks. We so busy being shamed, we lost our humanity. So the key thing here is that I want to do this whole movie is the difference between spirituality and religion. Identifying with your essence as spirit and identifying with the forms that were created by spirit. And everything that was created is temporary. Everything that is essential is permanent and forever. These are the primary lessons I want you to learn in this movie, the two things. Spirituality, the way you're living, the way you're walking through life, and form. You must know the difference between the creator and the created. Everything from the flesh out, including the organs, is created. It is organized, but it is temporary. It is physical form. And everything that is physical form is temporary. But you are not form. You are the spirit that created form. Always were and will always be spirit. That's what we are. Okay, family? We'll continue this lesson working with Professor Carver's book, and I only read you one line, 2 sentences. See what I'm talking about? This is deep. You can't flash over these words and not stop and understand and comprehend what the brother is trying to explain to you. Most of us have not been awakened. Okay, so we got to take our time and slow down and know and understand what we're talking about. Okay, family? I'll see you in the next video. And remember, to know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. And I forgot my chime in the beginning of the video, and we'll correct that with the next video. Okay, family? One love, and I'll see you in the next video.